Hey guys, I just finished grading your intro paragraphs. I didn't quite make it voice comments on all of them, but I did make a comment on all of them where I explained it. So please read through those. But I'm seeing the same mistakes over and over and over again, so I thought I'd make this video to go through some of them. Biggest thing is, so remember we talked about major publications and minor publications. Major publications, if I can talk, are italicized, and then minor publications are in quotation marks. So a speech would be a minor publication. So A, you need to put it in quotation marks, and B, it's not italicized. Okay, so a lot of you italicized it. A bunch of you were italicizing it and putting it in quotation marks. So you don't ever do that. It's always just one or the other, but for speeches, it's going to be in quotation marks. Okay. The other thing is capitalizing. I know we've talked about this, and like, I get that it's hard. I really do. I know you have to do two things. You have to press, shift, then you have to press the letter, and life is already taxing enough. But you have to capitalize things like the title of your speech, or the title of your paper, or the name of your author, or America. All those things need to be capitalized. It makes a big difference, and it really makes you look smarter, right? Like you're doing what you should. When you don't capitalize those things, it just looks like you're not a good writer, even if what you're saying is awesome. So make sure that you are capitalizing. That's really important. MLA was hard. So I don't want you guys to keep losing points from MLA. Please, please, please either go back and watch the MLA videos, come conference with me, but check over your MLA before you submit, because you're losing a lot of points on that. Like, it has to be an MLA format. So make sure you're doing those things. Okay, so you cannot use informal language in academic essays pretty much exclusively. So no saying I chose the speech, in my opinion, those type of things, right? Also, a lot of times we use that universal you, right? So we have to get rid of that. Don't say you, say Americans, teenagers, whatever it is that you're actually addressing in the paper. Okay, so same for like we, right? So you're talking about America, so you say we. But if you have a reader that's not from America, then they're not a part of the we. So now you've just made your reader feel like an outsider, right? And you always want to be able to connect with your audience just as much as you're now analyzing how they're connecting with their audience. Okay, so do those. When you're referring to your author of your speech, you always do it by their last name. So it's fine. The first time you introduce them, you should use their full name, like every time. But then afterwards, it should always be by their last name. And that's how you should do it. You shouldn't say their full name every single time. You say it once, and then from then on, anytime you refer to them, can be by their last name. If you want to do Martin Luther King Jr. as MLK, that's totally fine. Or JFK for the president, because those are well-established acronyms, so that's totally fine. You need to have parenthetical citations. Okay, so if you are quoting, you have to have after your quote in parentheses. Most of you are going to have a paragraph number, okay, your paragraph number, and then your period goes on the outside. Okay, so make sure that you're using those parenthetical citations. And then the last thing is a thesis statement. So many of you do not have a thesis statement, and you have to have one. Your thesis is what drives your whole paper. Everything you're doing should be supporting your thesis and connecting back to your thesis. So you, for this paper, need to say what rhetorical choices, devices, whatever it is you want to call it, what are you going to be analyzing in your essay, right? So if you're going to use ethos, logos, pathos, that's great, but you need to say that, right? They use ethos, logos, pathos to get their message to their audience. Perfect. That's a great thesis. Easy, like straightforward, one sentence. Your thesis has to be one sentence. But so many of you are missing that, and you will not get a good grade on your essay if you don't have a thesis, because then your paper can't be cohesive. You're not all referring back to one thing and supporting one idea within your paper, right? And that one idea should be, these are the rhetorical choices that the speaker made to get their message to their audience. So please, please, please make sure you're doing that. I am happy to have writing conferences. I'm the one grading your paper, which means if you meet with me and I tell you, oh, do this in your paper, or don't do that before you actually turn it in to be graded, then you will get a better grade on your essay. That's just like a guarantee. So use, take advantage of that and have a writing conference with me. I promise I'm nice. I'm strict about late work. And so I think a lot of you think I'm mean. But I promise I'm very nice. I just hate late work. And don't think you should turn it in late, especially because I really give you a lot of time to do everything. So that was the big thing. Hopefully you're going through your papers. If you don't do a writing conference with me, I strongly suggest you have your mom or dad read through it, your best friend, someone else in the class, whatever, because your brain knows what you mean to say. So a lot of times you miss things because your brain just fills it in, right? It knows what you're trying to say. So you might be missing a word, or you said it weird and you're not catching it because your brain's making it make sense in your head. But whenever someone else reads it, then they catch that. Or a great thing to do is read it out loud, because then you kind of do catch those mistakes because you actually have to say it and your brain's not just filling it in when you're reading it. So those are two really good things that you should do to help you get a better grade. Okay, so you have the whole rest of this upcoming week to work on your essay, get those things polished that we talked about. I would love if you can submit by Tuesday night, and then you can take all of Thanksgiving break off. I'm going to be really hard to get a hold of during Thanksgiving break. I'll be trying to check my email as much as possible, but one, it's my break and I kind of want to take it, and two, I might not have cell coverage all the time. So really, if you have questions, you want to do a writing conference, let's get that done, Monday, Tuesday, so we can do that. And then hopefully you can have your paper done, but you do have till Sunday. So remember, you have Sunday, November 29th, 11:59 to turn it in. If you do not submit by that time, I'm not going to let you turn it in late. And I know I'm going to hear every sob story under the sun, because I always do, but it's just going to be 0 out of 100 points. And that's going to really hurt your grade. And again, I'm not mean, but it's so hard to get everything graded, and when you add late work to it, it just really becomes insurmountable. So you have had plenty of time to get that done. I'm also right now just going to make your self-assessment, so make sure that you do that before you submit your paper as well. So hopefully this helps. Kind of tips from what I'm seeing, mistakes to avoid. Again, I'm happy to answer any other questions or go through anything else if you need. Just let me know. Okay, otherwise, have a good rest of your week and a happy Thanksgiving.